Once again, I'm your host, Mark Presley, right here on People's American Stories. This is Interview with Santa, Part 4, on We the Podcast. Well, how big is your book?
Oh, it is big. It's probably about, about twice the size of a big dictionary.
Oh, wow, that's pretty big.
And the print is very small. That's why I have to wear glasses. But, yes. And, a lot of times, some of the children I heard, they don't know I hear them, but I hear them. And they don't have, how come he didn't give me this, or how come he didn't give me that? There's some children out there, Mark, that don't have any toys.
Right.
Maybe I'll bring them a little toy or something. What they don't understand is that there is Christmas all around them. They have someone there that loves them. They have parents. They have a roof over their head. They have food. They have friends. That is a gift. Every day they have that. And a lot of people don't have money to give gifts to people that they would love to. Well, those people, like the little children, they have a friend and they would love to give them something, but they can't afford it.
Right.
My advice to those is to pick out your favorite toy and wrap that favorite toy up and give it to your favorite friend.
Well, that sounds like some great advice.
Christmas isn't for getting, it's for giving. It's for giving, and that's the thing. And give that to your friend. And look at his face. Look at his eyes light up. And he's going to be so happy. And you're going to be the happy person because in your heart you're going to feel a gift that was given to you because you gave something to somebody else that you loved. See, that's what's more important. It's not what Santa Claus brings you, it's what you give to other people.
That is true. You're absolutely right.
Yes. And everybody, no matter if you're a child or adult, adults are nothing more than children in big bodies. That's all.
Yeah. Do you have any memorable stories you'd like to share?
Oh, let's see. I've got memorable. Well, I know we got a big room here. We call it the mail room. It's filled all the time, filled with letters. People writing in, and what they want for Christmas, and that's probably one of my favorite times is sitting there and Mrs. Claus and some of the elves and going through it. And there was one that was from a little girl, and she was in Minnesota. Minnesota, yeah. And her name was Louise. That was it, Louise. And fine little girl, very positive, but she didn't have any toys. I was so sad to hear that, and her puppy just died, and she had not a real good life, but she had people all around her that loved her, but she was so sad, and I can still see the teardrops on the paper that she wrote, and I had to do something special for her. So what we did, the elves and I and Mrs. Claus, is we got together. Mrs. Claus crocheted a nice blanket for her, and it had a big heart on it, and it says, "I love you, Louise," and remember that. Okay, and we put that in the sled, and Mrs. Claus made a bunch of cookies. And all the elves, they put in their little toys, and when we delivered that, we stayed in the back and we watched her open this up, and she was so happy. Mark, she was so happy she was crying. Never ever in her life has she ever had any presents like this. And that's what made everybody that participated, the elves and me and Mrs. Claus, so proud that we were able to do that. That was an outstanding one because this was so sincere. This little girl, she was a loving little girl. She did not deserve any of this bad stuff that was happening to her all the time. So, but she believed, and the fact that she believed, it came through, and one day it paid off for her.
Wow, that is a great story. Unbelievable. Well, I'd really like to thank you, Santa, for being right here on People's American Stories.
My pleasure.
It has
Mark,
been
my
a pleasure.
pleasure.
Oh, no, it's my pleasure. Before we wrap it up, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Well, yeah, I have a favor to ask of you
Sure.
out there. I'd like for you to help Santa raise the Christmas spirit this year by making a wish and posting a video response or a comment to show the world that you believe. And remember, when there is love in your heart and you believe, it's Christmas every day. Merry Christmas to you all.
Merry Christmas to you, Santa. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Good night.
Good night.
Once again, I'm your host, Mark Presley, right here on People's American Stories. This concludes our story with an interview with Santa right here on We the Podcast.